Hey guys, what's up? Spectre here, and the release of Far Cry 5 is upon us, and I just want to give you my impressions of the game after over 20 hours of play, so I could help manage your expectations in terms of gameplay loop, customization, the narrative, game world, and whether or not you should pick this one up, so let's jump in. I should start this off by stating that I'm roughly a third of the way through the game's narrative after over 20 hours of gameplay, and in some regards I still feel like I'm scratching the surface. I've only just begun to kit myself out with my favorite character and weapon customizations, and there's still more for me to unlock. The game itself begins with a gripping opening mission that gives the player the impression that Ubisoft has a real command of the narrative this time around. It's so good in fact that I almost wish the game would be a more linear experience overall, but as per usual in the Far Cry franchise, Far Cry 5 features an immense game world, teeming with wildlife and danger at every turn. Between action-packed story missions, players will encounter NPCs throughout the in-game world who can activate new side missions or give you vital information leading to weapons caches or other missions. You'll come across the usual roadblocks and enemy strongholds, but don't worry, Ubisoft seems much more self-aware this time around. While some Far Cry staples still remain, you won't be completing cookie-cutter missions for the most part like in games past. The game even does a good job at poking fun at its more formulaic predecessors.
I know what you're thinking, and no, I ain't gonna have you climbing towers all over the county for me, so don't worry.
As you complete missions and side quests, taking the fight to the cult in various ways, you'll be rewarded with money, silver bars, a new in-game currency, and perk points. These perks are unlockable in any order rather than a rigid skill tree, and they can be mixed and matched to complement your playstyle. With your money and silver bars, you can purchase a bevy of weapons, outfits, and even vehicles. Weapons and vehicles feature unique skins and attachments that you can purchase as well. The narrative of Far Cry 5 is action-packed and at moments horribly suspenseful. I wasn't a fan of Far Cry 4's villain Pagan Min, as I felt Ubisoft was trying too hard to out-Voss themselves. He seemed unrealistically unhinged and angry simply for the sake of being so. Joseph Seed, however, or the Father as he's known by his followers, is methodical, dreadfully unpredictable, and cunning. Not only is he a force to be reckoned with on his own, but the devotion of his followers will scare you just as much as he does. There's a particularly shocking moment in the game's intro, which you can view here, or at the end of this video. The in-game world can stretch the narrative thin at very brief moments as you get lost in its vastness, but with the ongoing struggle unfolding all around you, and missions that always connect you directly to the conflict, your overarching mission is ever present, and every action you take feels meaningful. In my over 20 hours of gameplay, I've spent all my time in one county of the map, and there are quite a few others. I fought across farmland, in underground bunkers, in the sky, on the water, and all places in between. The in-game world is dense with emergent gameplay opportunities as you attack cultist supply lines, free innocent hostages, and fend off the game's vibrant and ferocious wildlife. The world feels real and lived in, especially at moments when you slow down and examine it more closely. Personally, my favorite installments in the franchise have been Far Cry 2 and 3. I adored the ever-present dangers of Far Cry 2, the wide-open plains, the freedom to attack any situation any way I wanted, and Far Cry 3's Voss, one of my favorite video game villains of all time. Far Cry 5 manages to blend an interesting open world with a compelling narrative. And while I also grew tired of Ubisoft's formulaic style of game design, this installment in the franchise does a good job of subverting your expectations and shows that Ubisoft is learning and growing from past mistakes. I've been genuinely surprised by the fun I've had with Far Cry 5, and if you've been interested in this title, I would definitely recommend picking it up. Make sure to sub for a full review in the coming days, and check out the rest of my channel for more Far Cry 5 content, from mission gameplay to character creation. And as always, thanks for watching.